Good evening, New Mexico. Our state lawmakers are rolling up their sleeves as they now get ready to head back to the roundhouse to finish a job that our governor believes is incomplete.
Yeah, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham is, of course, talking about public safety, and we know she was not happy with the lack of public safety bills lawmakers pushed through earlier this year. Now, tonight, our Griffin Rushton and Spencer Schott are helping us break down all the details of this big announcement for our state.
And the governor's announcement is not necessarily a huge surprise. I mean, she's been hinting at calling a special session ever since the 30-day legislative session ended earlier this year. Today, though, she finally made it official.
Griffin Rushton and I were both in the room when the governor first revealed, she was considering calling a special session back earlier this year. And literally that happened like minutes after the regular session ended.
Yeah, it did. It was in her, post-session presser, and she made it very clear that she wanted state lawmakers to approve more of her public safety agenda, and it's pretty clear today that she is not willing to wait until January to pick up where they left off. It's pretty clear the governor wants to do something about the so-called revolving door. A spokesperson confirmed today she wants lawmakers to revisit a bill reworking how the courts address competency. Law enforcement leaders, including the Bernalillo County District Attorney, say far too many suspects are arrested, deemed incompetent to stand trial, and then released, only to be arrested again and again. Now, it's too early to know exactly how lawmakers plan to disrupt that cycle, but previous proposals would have given the courts power to mandate certain behavioral health treatments to make sure those suspects are competent to stand trial. The governor's office confirmed she also wants lawmakers to tackle competency issues on a civil level, and she plans on bringing back a bill targeting panhandling and increasing the penalties for felons caught with firearms. But we'll mention those last two bills did not make it very far during this previous 30-day session.
Yeah, pretty much nowhere. And we should note versions of that firearms penalties bill were actually sponsored by Republicans.
Yeah, and Republican leaders I spoke with today say they still support that initiative, but Republicans are not the only ones the governor has to win over. Democrats also helped kill that panhandling bill during the previous session, and some of them have already raised concerns about those competency bills as well.
And when it comes time to do a special session, I mean, time is of the essence.
Yeah, there is no time for back and forth. No. It costs New Mexico taxpayers roughly $50,000 a day to bring state lawmakers back to the roundhouse, and the governor's office has already signaled that this special session could last a few days. Speaker of the House Javier Martinez says he's already working with experts on that competency bill, but Republican leaders still question if a special session is really enough time to thoroughly discuss these complex topics.
There's always contention within the roundhouse. We have been unable in the past to settle those issues in 60 days. What makes us think that we're going to be able to deal with that in just a few days? And even if we do, what work product are we going to put out in those few days where it hasn't been vetted, refined, and looked over by experts to give us some real solutions to these problems?
Republican leaders are also questioning the timing of all this. The special session is set for late July, roughly 5 months before lawmakers will return for the 60-day legislative session. Republicans argue if the public safety concerns are so pressing, the governor should bring back lawmakers sooner and address other issues as well, including fentanyl and border security.
We'll see whether or not we're seriously going to address crime and public safety, or if the bills that ending up on the call are nothing more than political campaign pieces.
House Democrat leaders put out a statement today saying, "We share the governor's commitment to ensuring all New Mexicans can feel safe in their homes and communities." And they added, "We also want all of our neighbors to be able to get the help they need when they or a loved one are struggling with mental or behavioral health issues." Now, it is worth noting this special session will include all of our current lawmakers, many of whom actually debated a lot of these bills during this past legislative session. And that's contrary to in January, when we're expecting a lot more new lawmakers to come in after the November election.
And that plays into the timing question Republicans asked. 3 months to do those backroom deals so that things can happen in the special session. All right, Griffin, thank you.
So we know at least what the governor wants to accomplish, but are these the same top concerns for many New Mexican families? Spencer Schott went out today just to ask people what they want to see happen on the public safety front. Spencer?
Well, some folks agreed with the governor about gun control and panhandling, but others say they're more worried about staying safe on the roads and handling our southern border situation. And while these folks had specific issues they wanted addressed, others said they're just encouraged lawmakers are getting called back to work just to look at public safety. The governor is giving state lawmakers 3 months' notice. She's bringing them back to the Roundhouse this summer to really tackle public safety. And one of her priorities, cracking down on panhandling. That's getting support from some of the folks we spoke to in Albuquerque on Wednesday.
There's just so many homeless folks, and I don't know what their situation is. I don't know if they're on drugs, but they will just walk out into the middle of the road and potentially cause accidents, and it's bad for them and bad for us, and figuring out how to address that for everybody's safety.
But many people say panhandling isn't the only problem on our roads that needs attention.
The things that I encounter on a daily basis, the driving here is atrocious. I never see anyone getting pulled over for speeding, but it's a constant. It's a constant. If you go the speed limit, you will be murdered by the other drivers.
Traffic concerns, right? Road rage has been a little bit on the rise. I'd like to see that addressed a little bit more.
The governor also wants additional gun legislation on her desk, and that's a specific concern for many people in the area.
The first thing that comes to mind is just gun control for me, and especially with the kids going to school is something that comes always to mind.
Especially since in the last few months, multiple schools have locked down after students brought guns on campus.
At my past few schools at Atrisco and Las Lunas, there has been a few just issues like that some days, and we've got on lockdowns. A lot of these kids, they kind of just, they do their own thing these days. It's hard to get a hold on them, just try to tell them something, they won't really do it.
Whatever we need to do to beef up security at the school system, either through more fences, more security guards, things of that nature, that would be awesome.
But some New Mexicans want more talk during this special session about an issue not necessarily based here in the metro. That would be the situation at our southern border.
I think the immigration issue needs to be addressed. I just think there's too many people coming across the border, unvetted. We don't know who they are, where they're going, and it's a burden on not only the people in the states that are involved with the border, but the whole nation.
Now, we also heard the general concerns about crime in the metro, but no specific ideas on how to really address it. But that will be up to lawmakers on July 18th when they head back to the Roundhouse. Trevor?
Yeah, Spencer, identifying the problems is one thing. Finding the right solution, that's a whole different thing. Thank you so much. We are definitely not done talking about the special session. We'll be keeping track of the latest developments as lawmakers prepare to head back to Santa Fe. Of course, our coverage will continue from the Roundhouse once the session does finally get underway.